or former Platinum Corridor Chamber CEO and mining consultant Hector Mbutla joins us now to talk about the Lilly mine anniversary today, 7 years on. A very good evening to you, sir. Thank you for coming in.
Good evening.
Do we all still have reason to be hopeful that the remains of these three workers will actually ever be found?
7 years down the line, we're still hopeful. If I borrow from the Russian idiom that says, in the kingdom of hope, winter never comes. We hope that something is going to happen in the next 9 months, where we are going to retrieve those that container, and the remains should be then given a decent burial.
And there have been conflicting takes on whether it is possible at this stage to indeed go in there and get this container and bring it to surface. But you have to wonder, 7 years on, what state the structure itself would be in, right, as they try to get in and bring it out. And if it's not still solid, how much of a complication that might be to the search.
Two things here. One is that the cost of retrieving the container, it's one thing, and if they are not going to be resuscitating the mine and focusing only on retrieving the container. Then the second thing is that if they were going to do the investment on retrieving the container, coupling it with mining, and it will make much perfect sense. However, there's a lot that could have been done in the past 7 years. You know, commemorations alone, they are not benefiting the victims. Commemorations are only benefiting those who are doing commemorations. But the reality of the matter is that the families didn't get any reprieve, and all what we need to do is to make sure that there's concerted effort to retrieve the container and do something to the victims' families in terms of redress.
And the three families are still not convinced, in fact, that there's been enough commitment, A, from the people responsible for the mine. I know it eventually went through a business rescue process. They're also not convinced that government has fully come to the party in trying to assist them. What more should have been done in the last 7 years?
That is very correct. For example, you've got local municipalities who should be, through their local economic development departments, they should have been doing something. You know, for example, if the commemoration was linked to either a raise, commemoration raise where the funds that have been raised are given to the victims, you know, with the hope of get that project gaining momentum. There's quite a lot that could have been done at the local government level, even also at district level. The district municipalities also have done something, even at provincial level. So it is true that the government has done fairly less in the past 7 years to have retrieved that container. And
the constant conversation that we have to keep going back to when we talk about the Lilly mine tragedy is around monitoring and safety levels, because I think it was a DMRE, Mineral Resources Department report around 2017 that suggested that, in fact, the area where this container was swallowed by the ground burying the workers was to an extent waterlogged, right? There was an issue around drainage. Are we monitoring such things enough in our mining operations or at our mining operations in South Africa to make sure that what happened at Lilly mine is not repeated elsewhere?
If you recall, Tembegile, the provisions of the Act also says there's a fund that has been paid for rehabilitation. So clearly, because that fund was not tapped into as part of the rehabilitation of that particular mine, it says there's not sufficient monitoring and evaluation that has been done. And learning from this and many other instances in the country where old mines are not rehabilitated, the challenge continues.
Among the other concerns has been illegal mining. Some say illegal mining operations around the Lilly mine area before the tragedy may have in fact compromised the integrity of the area at a safety level, but even post, we've heard reports of illegal mining going on around there. To what extent do you think that is likely to pose a complication going forward?
It certainly will pose a complication, because illegal mining is a serious threat to economic development in this country in terms of no proper mechanisms put in place. And it will complicate the operations, because at this present moment, we don't know what happened to that container, the degeneration component of it, and then the earth moving whether we'll still get that container at the same position where it was when it sank.
How much data is available on that, like, that we can rely on to basically be able to predict the location of the container, whether it's in the exact same spot where it was basically collapsed into the ground, or if it's indeed moved, as you're suggesting?
I'm afraid we may not have that technology in the country. We would have to rely on foreign technology to be able to trace the current location of the container.
Hector Mputla, thank you so much for being with us tonight on News at Prime. Former Platinum Corridor Chamber CEO and mining consultant Hector Mputla speaking to us on the 7th anniversary of the Lilly mine tragedy. Now, just